going on, YouTube? My name is Keith.
My name is Ben. Today we're doing not one, but two movie reviews. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 and Wonder Woman. So, let's dive right into this.
We're going to start with Guardians of the Galaxy 2. I'm going to start with some pros on which I liked about it. First off, Baby Groot is hilarious. Unarguable point. Baby Groot, hilarious! Like, I went and saw this on a date with a girl, and I was trying not to laugh, and it was so funny, I almost peed myself from holding in my laughter.
Why didn't you laugh? Yeah.
Okay, I don't like...
If you're not laughing, that means that you're insecure.
No, I didn't like my laugh, and I did not want to, like, sound like a dying cow in front of this girl on a date.
Not cutting that out.
I hate my laugh. I really liked how... We do spoilers, right?
Yeah, we do suppose.
Okay.
I probably should have put that at the beginning.
I like how they incorporate Star-Lord's dad, and then how Star-Lord's dad is a evil scumbag.
Yeah.
And then how he gets his butt kicked. But it was kind of creepy.
Yeah.
How he was using Star-Lord as a battery.
Human battery.
It makes you squirm a little bit. It looks a little painful, but that's good because, it's great.
The bad guy is supposed to make scenes uncomfortable. He's supposed to do mean things, and so I think impaling someone with basically
energy.
One of your own nerves, like a massive nerve of energy, like that's pretty serious.
I do have a few cons.
Oh boy.
Con number one, I didn't like how they opened up. I like the opening, like, in the 1980s on Earth, but I didn't like the credits, like the Groot dancing, Baby Groot dancing.
Oh yeah.
Battling the monster.
I wasn't a fan of that either. Like, if you're gonna hype up this monster coming through dimensional space to steal these batteries and, like, eat them or something, like, show us that. I don't want to see a dancing tree all across the front of my face.
And they made it like it's an interdimensional destroying alien.
Like, you're not gonna see that normally. Like,
well, you're not
show us that.
You're not gonna kill it that easy either. I mean,
no.
It's interdimensional, destroying worlds, and you're like, oh, pew 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 pew. Oh, it's dead.
Well, they could have at least shown us more of that fight. Like, you go to superhero movies to, like, see the fight scenes because they're always gonna be visually spectacular. Well, most of them anyway. But the fight scenes are always going to be good. You don't want to get distracted from that by a dancing tree. So I share that grievance with you.
I also didn't like how Star-Lord's dad is a sentinel?
Celestial.
Celestial. And how he destroyed like 100 of these golden people ships, but he never explained how he did it. Like, I wanted an answer on that.
It's magic, Keith. Magic.
Nah, I want, like, did he use lasers? Did he, like, what did he do? I want to know.
It was probably space mumbo-jumbo that would never get fully explained.
I guess, yeah, I don't know.
It's like classic Treknobabble.
What?
Like in Star Trek when they're making just obscure scientific references and naming this and this and this and this, like, and no one's going to have any idea what's going on unless they have, like, several PhDs. Like, that's Treknobabble. Like, you have to have an in-depth understanding of stuff to understand it.
Like The Flash.
Yeah, like The Flash.
Alright, because I'm watching The Flash, and I was like, how come we don't time travel right now? But that's a whole nother rabbit trail.
Yeah. So...
Your thoughts? Those are my pros and cons for the moment until I can think of another one.
My pros, like with the first Guardians movie, my first pro is, like, I enjoy how this movie stands on its own. Like, yes, it's tied into the rest of the Marvel universe, but it doesn't, like, try to interconnect everything. Like, in the Avengers movies, you see something in Thor reference Captain America, or in Captain America you see something reference Iron Man. Like, everything's pieced together, and I like how in the Guardians movies they don't do that. They sort of stand out as their own thing, but they still take place in the same universe. So you can have people like Thanos showing up or being referenced, or, like, things still happening on Earth like we saw in the movie. But yeah, I like how the Guardians movies always stand out on their own as their own thing.
I have to interrupt here.
Whoa.
This I know, but this is a big one, and you're gonna be pretty upset with this. This was probably gonna be your next pro. My con that is probably gonna be Ben's pro, just because we have Well, we have some similar tastes, but I think we differ on music. I don't like the music style. I don't like the old-fashioned 1980s, 1970s garbage.
Ah! How dare you?
I-
That music is amazing.
I
How can you not like it? How?
It's so
How?
slow and
Slow. Oh my gosh. Oh. Yeah, whoever thought music could be slow and
I mean,
not
it's great
rush
if
through-
you're on a slow song dance at like prom, but I mean, not. No, I mean, it worked for some scenes, but it's just too much. Like 1 or 2 songs, not 8. Okay, let's cut that down a little bit.
We can't be friends. I'm kidding. We'll still be friends, just not as good friends now.
There's a break now in the friendship.
But actually, you called that pretty accurately. My second pro was going to be about the music, because I like older music. Like modern music, to me, just I don't enjoy most of it. Like I don't like sort of techno beats and lyrics now. So older music is definitely the way to go, and that's rude.
I apologize if I do not regret it.
But the Guardians movies always have the greatest soundtracks in the Marvel Universe, so that's my pro for that. Con that I had, like the first con that comes to my mind, probably not my biggest con, but the first con that comes to my mind is how they changed Drax from the first movie.
Yeah.
See, in the first movie, he was more serious, and he didn't know how to understand metaphors, and that was funny in its own way. But now, in the second movie, they just made him, like, all-out comedy relief. And I'm like, why? I mean, Guardians 1 and Guardians 2 are supposed to take place only a few months apart. So, like, you don't just have Drax, who is come from this culture of people who don't understand metaphors, to being the class clown. Like, what?
Oh, by con, there was a few spots where, like, it'd be playing music and they'd be fighting.
Yeah.
And the camera's moving really fast, and there's too many things to focus on.
Yeah.
So you can't really
that probably
take
goes
anything
back
in.
to the opening scene again, because
Yeah.
that was all over the place. Like, you start here, then you move here, and it's all tracking Baby Groot. So, like, you still see stuff in the background. It's just
You can't focus
not
on it because it's like
focus.
there, then it's gone. Then you're trying to focus on Baby Groot, but then Groot's getting out of the picture. Then you have to focus on this. There's too many moving objects for the audience.
But then a pro, sort of coming off that for me, is that I liked visually what they did with this movie. Like, Ego's World,
That was cool.
that was mind-blowing. It was like ripped straight
That's
out of like
Quinn-inspired,
a
by the way.
Dr. Seuss book. Like, everything was so bright and colorful and just looked absolutely bizarre, and I loved it. It's like, it sort of made me think of like 1950s like science fiction novels, or
Yeah.
like pulp fiction type comic books where they're always having like these guys in ridiculous spacesuits go to these different planets, and like everything is just so largely out of proportion. You got glass dome cities and all that, and so that's sort of like how similar it was to me. Like, looking at it, it's like what cheesy science fiction movies from the 50s would have been if they had the visual effects from today. Just like bold, out there, colorful, and I really liked it. So
Overall, I'd say Guardians of the Galaxy 2 is good, funny, and wasn't a disappointment. I mean, there's a few things I was a little disappointed on, like we went over, but otherwise, overall, it was worth it. It was worth to see it in the theater.
yeah, definitely gonna get like maybe 4.5 out of 5 stars from me. Like,
I'd
among
say
that being just the overemphasis of Baby Groot. I mean, like, yes, it's okay to have like cute characters and stuff, but don't oversell it, man. Like, don't put that as like the basis of your marketing thing. So it was overuse of Groot, and
music was crap.
okay, no, stop, Keith, and like,
Too much to focus on.
yeah, I mean, like, I guess a sort of pro/con was Ego himself, like Ego, Quill's dad.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he wasn't your traditional Marvel villain. I mean, like, at the beginning, I sort of thought that the villain was going to come out of the blue and be like the sovereign people, like the gold people. I thought they were going to be the villains of the movie, and I thought that Ego would like help them and such, because I didn't even know Ego was a character in the comics until now. So I didn't know what to expect from him. So, like, when he turns all of a sudden, like, whoa, this guy's the villain the whole time? I did not see that coming. And, like, sort of a pro-con was, Ego was a douche. I mean, like,
Yeah.
you find out, obviously, spoiler alert,
Yes.
that he was the one who was responsible for Quill's mom dying because he didn't want to have to be tied down to Earth. And, like, then Quill just blasts him up. And, like, I went to go see this with Ryan and Dan.
Oh.
And as we were going back to Dan's house from the theater, Ryan commented on pretty much the same thing. And I have to agree with him pretty strongly that Ego got what was coming to him.
But the best part was he's like,
blasting him up.
who do you think you are? And it's like, what? What do you mean, who do I think I am? He killed his mom. He's going to shoot you up.
Yeah, like, that was a pro/con because
yeah.
I liked how you just did not see that coming out of left field. Like, boom, here you go, here's your villain. But also, a con was, he was a really good villain. And, like, that's a con because villains aren't usually good in Marvel movies. So, actually having a villain who makes you definitely hate him as opposed to, like, Ultron, like, that was a con because, well, I don't know how it's a con. It's a con, accept it.
Ben left the theater upset. Let's leave it at that.
Yeah. Well, not as upset as when I left Logan. Oh my gosh, I was in tears. Okay.
So, overall, a 4 from me. I'd give it a solid 4.
Next up is Wonder Woman. We've got a bit more to say about this because it came out more recently. I saw this a few days ago with my brother Daniel, and I gotta say, I cut myself off from any news or trailers or spoilers from Wonder Woman for about maybe 2 weeks before it came out because, like, obviously with movies, the more you get closer to the release date, the more the marketing is going to get boosted. They're going to show you more to try and draw you in. So I knew that among that was going to be some, like, depictions of the villain, Ares. And I didn't want to see that because I wanted to go to the theater and see Ares premiere in larger than life. And so this goes into my first pro. Oh my gosh, Ares. Like, that dude was a sweet villain. It's like, I have no words. Like, seeing him finally, like, reveal himself, and you didn't even expect him to be who he was. It's like, because he was masquerading as this, like, older British statesman with a cane, like, the whole time. Then he shows up and was like, wait a minute, we thought it was this other guy the whole time, and now you're saying it's him? Mind blown. And, like, his armor was dope. I mean, like, they, like, with all the action figures they've been releasing for this movie, they, like, have little sections that you can piece together if you collect all the different action figures to make a bigger Ares action figure. The action figure looked nothing like how he did in the movie. So I was expecting him to look like his action figure, but once again, toy marketing lies, and I was happy that it did because he looked way better. It was like, he looked amazing. Like, I know I'm going all out about Ares, but that's because it's like the best DC villain that we've had since General Zod or Ledger Joker. So I'm just gonna put that out there. Like, he looked phenomenal. His motivation was amazing. I really liked Ares as part of this movie. So over to you, buddy.
So, my thoughts on Wonder Woman were, like Ben, fantastic. I loved getting a backstory on the Amazon.
Yeah.
And their whole, like, little town. Well, not
Island.
town.
Island.
Yeah, but I was going to say mountain. That works.
Yeah,
and I loved how she saved, what was his name?
Steve Trevor.
Is that the actor's name or is that the actual guy?
Chris Pine is the actor. Steve Trevor is the character.
Okay, alright.
Like, I don't know why you even go to these movies if you don't remember who anyone is.
I remember faces. So anyway, Steve gets saved by Wonder Woman, and then they're going to kill him. And I thought it was the funniest thing. He's taking a bath, and then she just walks on in on him and doesn't leave. Like, she didn't think anything of it.
That scene, I was in the theater with Daniel, and, like, he was just like, oh my gosh, when is this over? Because it was the most hilariously awkward scene in the movie. And it's like, yeah, you have to actually appreciate that about this movie, because, like, this is the first time in her life that she's meeting a man, so you don't know what to expect out of any of this. And that, I think, was one of the better selling parts about the movie for me.
It was just...
Was, like, the whole experience of her entering this new world that, like, even to us is a bit strange because it takes place in the past and it's different from what we know. But, like, still, watching her go into that different world was equal parts amazing and hilariously awkward.
It was just funny because he's standing there and she's like, so, would you consider yourself average for your type? And he's like,
I'm above average.
Above average. And then she brings it up again. She says, so you're average, right? And he's like,
above.
Above. It was really funny.
Yeah.
I loved having a backstory.
Yeah.
Second off, it didn't hurt that Wonder Woman was extraordinarily hot.
Yeah, that helps.
That was great. Third was my third favorite part was probably just the action. I loved how it was kind of like a little war movie and it was accurate.
I said this to Ryan too, but he hasn't seen it yet. Like my friend Ryan, who you probably would recognize from a earlier video we did, but like Ryan and I were talking about this when I was hanging out at his house a while ago, and I told him like watching the battle scene, it was like playing a Call of Duty game, like especially the earlier ones like COD 2, World at War. Like even though those are set in World War II, and this is the movie's in World War I. Like, still watching it was pretty similar. Yeah, like, just the weaponry and stuff, I recognized it immediately, like, boom, that's a potato masher grenade. Like, boom, that's that weapon. It's like, I just like the fact that they did World War I for this, because, like, World War I isn't an era that's touched on very often in movies, so it was pretty interesting to see that.
Con? I didn't really have very many cons, if any.
No.
The only con I didn't like was battling Ares. I could see that actually being great. My only con was I didn't really ever think that the general was Ares. I thought
Ludendorff?
I just thought she was crazy, and then when she killed him, I was like, oh, okay, whatever. And then you already had that big battle, and then you have another huge battle, but then you have another battle with Steve and this plane, and Steve dies, and she's upset. And I didn't want Steve to die. I wanted them to like get married. So I was a little disappointed in.
Yeah. Well, you could sort of see that Steve was going to die at some point because, like, he's not around in Batman v Superman. I mean, obviously it's World War I. He would have been dead either way, but like you knew that like he wasn't gonna make it through the movie.
No, but I didn't see that coming. I didn't think that
because after World War I, she quits and like moves to Paris and does what she's been doing up until BVS. So,
but like I said, I think the fact that there was like 3 or 4 huge battles took away the effect of a big battle. So that was my only con. Yeah. Yet again, like I said, I really had to go.
Like you have to think.
So
the other battles before the battle with Ares, those were all pretty small scale. Like there were people fighting people. It was like, but then you get to Wonder Woman versus Ares, and then it's like, boom, gods hurling thunderbolts and all that.
Well,
and I think that was actually added to the experience instead of being taken away from it.
Well, my only thing was, mind you, I still have to go to the bathroom at this point, like really bad. So that I was kind of distracted, like waiting for it to be over.
Point taken.
So there's a big battle, like when they're getting across, like the little like war battles, and then you have at the like the ballroom, there that little where they use that gas or whatever.
Yeah.
On that village, and then you have Wonder Woman versus the General, which was very short. But it was still...
Well, obviously that was going to be short because, like, you could sort of tell that he wasn't actually Ares.
Yeah. But then you have her versus Ares, but at the same time, you have the other guys with Steve's crew blowing up that hangar.
Yeah.
And then Steve flying away and then blows up, and then you have that huge, drawn-out, like, 5-10 minute battle between Wonder Woman and Ares, and then you have, like, the ending. So, I mean, I just thought that there's a few... They made some of the battles a little too big, but that was a very small con. Like, I have nothing but good news. I would give it a solid, like, 4.8, 4.9.
Yeah. Like, I have to go back to another pro about this was the storytelling of it all. It's like, DC films, like, as critically bashed as they have been, like, the storytelling them has always been pretty on point because they always focus on specific subjects and, like, how they view their world. Like, you don't normally see that in a Marvel movie. You just see, normally, we need to be good for this reason because these guys are bad, and that's it. But in Wonder Woman and like with Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, you sort of see the explanation of the morality behind why they do what they do. But with Man of Steel, you had the theme of hope and how hope can be an ideal to inspire others. In Batman v Superman, then you had the question of how do we determine power and how it's used. Like, power corrupts and absolute power corrupts. Absolutely, that whole theme of how can we trust someone this powerful. And then, I don't really think that there would have been one in Suicide Squad. That movie was all over the place. But then in Wonder Woman, it comes down to, like, how the world acts from the perspective of someone who has not been in this world for very long. It's like seeing the horrors of arguably one of, if not, one of the worst wars, probably not the worst war, but seeing for the first time one of the worst wars in human history from someone who has not been in this world for very long. And so sort of seeing the views of man's inhumanity to man, like from that perspective, and like how people aren't inherently good and that they are flawed, but there can still be some redemption there. So I like where they took that high rating on this. Definitely, like people have been saying, this is the best DC movie so far. I am sort of on board with that. Like, I still like the ultimate cut of BVS, but I'm going to have to say that Wonder Woman is going to take down Man of Steel is now my second favorite. So, yeah, definitely up there on that. So
overall, great movies. Great movies.
Yeah. Both Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 and Wonder Woman, they're in theaters now, so if you haven't seen them, why are you watching this? We've just discussed every possible spoiler. Go see them right now, come back and rewatch this, and then you'll understand what we're talking about better. Alright guys, thanks for watching. If you like this video, be sure to leave a like. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel. New sketches coming to this channel soon. I know we've been doing a lot of review stuff lately, but we are currently working on comedy sketches that we'll be filming coming up here very soon. So be on the lookout for those. So just stick around. We'll have stuff for you later. Bye guys.